Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Canute and I'm the school counselor at DeSoto Intermediate. If you're a teacher from another building, I just wanted to introduce myself. This is my second year as a school counselor at DeSoto and my 13th year in the district. I'm going to be hopefully answering some questions that you have submitted, the ones from the DeSoto Intermediate building. But as always, if you have questions after this, feel free to reach out to me via email or just give me a call. I'm going to go ahead and present a slideshow that I think will be helpful as we go through the questions and answers. So the first question that was submitted was, what is my role as a teacher when a student is in a crisis situation? So I think the first thing that's just really important is to let the child know what your intentions are, that you are there to support that child, and that they might then get some support from another teacher or a member of the CPI team. So just be upfront and honest about what you are going to do and what steps you're going to take. So from there, you would want to give a call to the office for assistance from the CPI team. In the moments that you are waiting for one of those members to arrive, I think it would be helpful to use the calm technique, which I will just go through in just a second. But from there, you'll want to support your other students when that CPI member arrives. So it's important to continue instruction, but also let those students know that they are in a safe place, help keep them calm as well. So I think when a student is escalated, the best technique that I have come across is the calm technique. I just think it's something that's really easy to remember and helpful for the student. It is a plan from Jennifer Colari, who's a child and family therapist, and she does a podcast called Connected Parenting that is just really helpful. But she talks about connecting before correcting. So before you want to fix the problem or correct that problem, you'd want to just connect with the student. So this whole technique should only take just a few minutes. So it seems like a lot, but it's really, really just a few minutes of the time to be able to connect with a child, be present with them. And I know that's really hard when you have a whole classroom full of kiddos, but if you're able to suspend whatever agenda you had for just a few minutes to connect with that student, use your body language to show that you are listening. So if the student's down on the floor, under a table, for example, you still want to give him or her their space, but you might get down on that level to be able to show that you're able to listen. The affect is the look on your face, matching the look on their face. So you're not just trying to fix their pain, take it away, say things like, oh, it's going to be okay. But if they look sad, it's okay to look sad too and match that. You'll then want to show that you're listening. If you can paraphrase or clarify what they are feeling or saying, then that's really helpful. It's not about agreeing with what they're going through or agreeing with what they are saying, but just that they understand that you get it, that you're understanding why they're upset. And then just mirror what they look like. So it's almost as if a mirror would be in front of them. You're sitting in that moment with them. Just a few minutes, letting them share what they feel. Jennifer likes to talk about this as the best friend response. Really, when we are upset and escalated, who are the people that we want to talk to? It's never the people who try and fix it right away, give us advice right away, and it's also not the people who want to minimize that problem. It's really that person who's just going to sit with us for a little bit in that moment. So I think that would be really helpful if you are able. And then hopefully a CPI team member will be there. You can also call a counselor if you're unable to get a hold of the CPI team. The second question was, what is the best way to report an emergency situation, whether it be the student telling the teacher or overhearing the student telling others? So my answer to that is really anytime there's an indication that a student has any self-harm or suicidal ideation, whether it's coming directly from that student or even if it's hearsay. So the student has told someone else and that student comes to you, you should always call the counselor immediately. Even if the student was saying, oh, I was just joking, it's really important to share that with the counselor. The counselor then can go through a safety plan with that student and follow the proper steps from there. If the counselor is not available or not in the building, then you can also, it's important to let the administrator know, and the administrator will be able to go through that safety plan with that student or connect with a school counselor in another one of our buildings to be able to go through that safety plan. It's just really, really important to take all accounts seriously. So if a student says, oh, I was joking, or I was just frustrated, or I was just mad, that no matter what, they know we are going to take that seriously. And so go ahead and pass that along to the counselor. There were 2 DHS related questions that were really great. The first one was, which staff members in my building do I need to refer to if I suspect something DHS related? The answer there is that you really don't have to refer to an admin or a counselor, but it's a really, really good idea, especially after you make that call, to be able to get the support that you might need. So you can contact the counselor. I have gone through those calls with the teacher, so I think sometimes it can be really scary to kind of hold in and do all by yourself. So if you want to go through that process with a counselor, definitely reach out, and that is something we would be glad to help you with. When you are in doubt, should I make the call? Should I not make the call? The answer is always make that call. So make that report. Even if the case is not opened, it can still be some evidence that could be build toward a case later. The second question was, if I ever have to call DHS, what is the process like and what questions might they ask me? This is such a great question. I will say that the intake workers will walk you through this step by step. They are very appreciative, they're very calm, they're very helpful. They know that it's not the easiest thing to do. So that is helpful to know. What you'll want to do is fill out a DHS report form, and I would suggest doing that prior to making the call, because then it kind of goes in order. When you give the information, it goes in the same order that the form information has. So I'll show you what that looks like, and you can always get one of those from me or on the DHS website. This is what the form looks like. So they'll ask for family information, other children in the home. And so it's really helpful to have that information pulled off of Infinite Campus. And if you can't find information related to siblings' birthdays, that's okay. But also know that admin and counselors can look that information up. From there, you will give the account of kind of the nature of the suspected abuse. So what you'll want to do, if you have notes from what the student had told you, that is great. You can use those notes to make that kind of a narrative, but basically you're just going to write what you remember from that conversation exactly. So write what the student has told you and what information you have. Try to get information from the student related to the time that something happened, where they were, who they were with. So that kind of information would be helpful. If you can get information that's, the more details that you can provide, the better for the case. But, and you can always ask for the information now that you've gotten from the child, then you want them to talk to the counselor. That's always a good next step, so that there are 2 narratives there. But you'll write the information that you have here, and actually most times go to the back page. And then you'll just give the information of yourself. And then here is where, if you did get help from a counselor or you did talk to admin, then you'll want to put down that they have knowledge of the abuse as well. So this form kind of helps set you up for the call. And you will actually submit this within 48 hours of making that call, so it's good to just have it done anyway. It's also really helpful if you have Infinite Campus pulled up, because they will ask you questions like who else is of support in the family. So if there's grandmother, grandfather, friend of family contacts, that you'll want to list those also. It's just important to also know that it's okay not to know all of the information. It's okay to say, I'm not sure, I didn't ask that. Don't just report what you know. And then from there, you'll scan the report and email or fax it within 48 hours. And then you'll want to keep that report somewhere safe and confidential. DHS will also then mail you a update of whether the case was open or closed. And then you'll want to save that in a confidential place. If you did that call with me, I'm happy to take those and put them in a file with my other reports. So that's an option too. The next question was, what do you wish we, the teachers, would take care of on our own? My answer to that is just, we love when you ask us for support. So don't hesitate. If it's something you feel like would be better suited for the counselor to talk to the student about, or if you feel like the support in social emotional is a little bit deeper than what you are feeling confident about, then go ahead and ask us for that support. Feel free to send students down or refer them to filling out that Google form to request to see me. I will say, whenever you can, use or carry over any guidance lessons that we've had in the class to help solve that problem. That's awesome. But we are here to support you and your students, so don't ever hesitate to reach out. That final question was, can you tell us more about what counseling services or methods could be used or sought for teacher mental health? And this is such an important question. I like to think about this as putting on your oxygen mask before you put on somebody else's. So taking care of yourself. You're not able to take care of others if you can't take care of yourself. So our insurance plans at ADM are pretty good about covering mental health services. I know that Doctors on Demand, if you had insurance through this school, they offered free virtual counseling through this pandemic, and I believe they are still doing that. So check with your plan before you decide on a counselor. But if you find a really good one too, it's just important to get that help that you need. So the Calm app and the Headspace apps are both really, really helpful for just self-care at home. I think they're good for trying to make a habit of self-care and make it part of your routine at home. Trying some of the self-care activities that the kids do in the digital calming corner that I have given to students. I think there are no strategies in self-care that are too young for us. So there's breathing techniques and meditation and all kinds of different things that are helpful for kids that can also be helpful for us as adults. So I know that it's really hard because it seems like one more thing that's added to our plates, but really if we develop that habit, it just becomes part of our day, and it helps us understand that this is really the most important part, is our overall mental health. So I also want you to know that if you're feeling like you just need a break and things are not okay at school, that I'm a safe place to come to too for resources, for help, for a break. So please reach out in any capacity related to that. I hope that this helped answer some of your questions. Of course, like I said, if you have any other questions or you want to have access to this little presentation, then feel free to contact me, and have a great day.